Welcome to Detective Diaries, brought to you by Private Detectives Answers Investigation. If you're captivated by the art of deduction, the thrill of solving the unsolvable, or the enigmatic world of private investigation, you have just found your new favourite podcast. Detective Diaries are where secrets are unravelled and the truth is always a clue away. Presented by Private Detective Answers Investigation. Each episode contains offbeat conversations about the real people involved in investigation.
I'm talking with Tóva Copeman about the subject of forensics. Something that fascinates so many people. Dictionary definition of forensics. It refers to the application of scientific methods and its principles to investigate crimes, to identify offenders, and to collect and analyse evidence to be used in investigation. Tóva, you're a forensic investigator, which sounds like a fantastic job title. What does it mean?
So, as a forensic investigator, we look at forensic evidence that's left at a crime scene and we'll analyse it, pick it up so that we can actually observe it. And then we will use that to sort of find the criminals and help engage in court cases at the crime scene.
And you work in the private sector, not
Yes.
the public sector?
Yes. So in the private sector, it's a lot more personal. We look at more of the crimes that are less prioritised. When people come to us, they want it done quickly and they've obviously been very hurt by what's happened. Usually it will be like thefts or burglary. So a lot of it will include fingerprints, which we will take off of a object. For example, so say there's been like a jewellery box and some jewellery's been stolen, we'll take that jewellery box and analyse the fingerprints on it and see if we can compare that to anyone that they know or any suspects that they may have.
I know you have an incredibly busy life, working full time, but from what I understand, you're still finishing your masters?
Yes.
Nearly there?
Yeah, nearly there.
Okay. What's it in? What are you studying? What
So
do you do?
for my masters, I did criminal psychology, sort of to give me a broader experience of the criminological world, because psychology is also an extra add-on thing that I'm very interested in. And I found it very interesting. Don't get me wrong, it's been very chaotic the last few months, working full-time and finishing off my dissertation, but we've managed to get through it and I'm just about to finish, so hopefully it'll all go well.
You mentioned your dissertation. What's the subject?
So my master's dissertation is looking at the gendered attitudes of the public towards forgiving ex-offenders. So sort of seeing about how the public and their forgiveness and willing to forgive an ex-offender may change due to gender bias or depending on the offender's gender, essentially.
That sounds fascinating and very much on the agenda at the moment.
Yeah, it was very interesting to do, actually. I'm very much more of a practical person. I like to be more hands-on, but obviously when it comes to the psychological side, there's only so much you can do that's hands-on. So I chose to sort of look at bias and the way that can, because there's so many things that can sort of go towards, like not just the willingness to forgive that offender based on their gender, but it then links to how they get rehabilitated and whether they reoffend, and then whether there's essentially more crime and more reoffending because people may forgive some more than others.
I get it. That's quite a wow. And so the undergraduate degree preceded the masters?
Yes.
What was that?
So I did my undergraduate in criminology and forensics, 3 years of that. My dissertation was absolutely incredible. So my undergraduate dissertation, I looked at the differences in aquatic decomposition rates. So essentially what that means is, obviously decomposition is when the body starts to decompose after someone has died, and how that can determine time of death, sort of how they died, that sort of thing. And what I wanted to look at was whether that differed underwater and the circumstances that happened before the death, if that altered the rate as well. So essentially I used rats, which I know probably sounds quite disgusting, but obviously I can't use real people. So what I did is I had one rat in room temperature, one in the sun, and then one in the freezer. And essentially my theory was that obviously you hear these stories about murders and people storing dead bodies in the freezers because they don't have time to destroy it or get rid of it, that sort of thing. And so I wanted to know that if you chucked all of them into the water afterwards, whether the differences between the temperatures before they went underwater would alter the rate of decomposition, which essentially my hypothesis turned out to be correct in the fact that when the rat that was in the freezer beforehand decomposed the slowest, even though the temperature of the waters were all the same once they were underwater, because it was frozen beforehand, it meant that the decomposition rate was a lot slower because it hadn't started yet, whereas the one in the heat obviously decomposed the fastest, but they were all then put underwater in the same temperature. So it was quite interesting. It wasn't the nicest, but I found it very exciting and interesting to handle.
So did people lock up their pets when you go around to their house in case you're going to use them as an experiment?
No, it was purely for research purposes. I mean, obviously the rats were already dead. They were from a pet shop for snakes and things like that. So, but my uni was actually really helpful with it. I mean, they got everything that I needed for me, including the rats. And then I did the study by myself, all from my brain, essentially.
Have we caught your interest? More episodes are available right now, including my life as a private eye, from student to an experienced investigator, with me, Harry Watts. Listen now on Detective Diaries.
There's no point in me asking you if you enjoy forensics, because it's obviously such a passion with you. I mean, what is it? What floats your boat with the whole thing?
I think it is just one of those things that I honestly will never know exactly what fascinates me. I get told that it's quite weird how fascinated I am with the gruesome side, but I think that's just the way that I've been brought up with biology and science, and just sort of wanting to go that way. I just find it so interesting, and it's such a rare job as well. And I think that competitiveness side of me also just doesn't exactly help in me wanting to get into something that's incredibly rare.
Okay, so your criminology undergraduate degree, going then on into criminal psychology.
Mm-hmm.
Have I got that right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, just making sure I've got the facts right. I mean, was that a natural graduation, or was it a movement?
So I graduated from my undergrad as normal, and then my master's was completely separate. But the reason why I decided to take the master's was so that I had multiple routes to take, because, as I said previously, obviously the forensic area is such a rare job to get into. I mean, obviously I consider myself incredibly lucky to get the job that I have now. But other people aren't so lucky. And so when I was originally taking my master's, I knew I was interested in psychology and the way that criminals think and why they do things the way they do. I mean, why would you chuck a body in the freezer before dumping it in the water? Why would you not just dump it in the water? That sort of thing. I wanted to know why. I was curious to see what in their brain made them think that way, or to even do the crime in the first place. But it also gave me that second route, so that if for some reason later on in life decided to change my mind, I had that psychological route to go down as well. It was a sensible decision, but it also just gave me more time to learn even more about everything that's crime related, I guess.
So day to day at work, what are you working on right now?
So right now, forensic wise, we are working on a case for a company. Obviously, I can't give too much information away, but it is quite interesting. We have actually been sent some envelopes, which essentially had $4,000 in cash in. And they believe that one of their employees stole that cash. So essentially what we've been doing, or what we've been asked to do, is bring up those fingerprints or any prints that are on the envelope, and then take control prints of their employees and then sort of compare the two and see if we can find any matches, which is a long process, because obviously having to take control prints of every employee isn't going to take a day. But I've been finding it really interesting because we've been using the Ninhydrin, which is basically a chemical treatment. So we soak the envelope in this acetone type liquid, which will activate with heat, and it will bring up any prints that are left behind from their sweat pores. And then we'll leave that to dry, and it will come up in this fluorescent pink colour, which will then show the print, or hopefully any prints that we can get. And then we will then match those with, hopefully, one of the employees if their suspicions are correct, of course.
It sounds like something straight out of CSI, but
It is.
not, I'd imagine, not a process that's as simple as it is portrayed on the TV.
Oh, definitely not. I think with the TV, it's portrayed as a 2-second job, which it is not at all. I mean, we've had to do multiple treatments on the envelope to get any prints up. I mean, the envelopes also came quite crumpled, so it wasn't as easy. There wasn't any straight thumbprints or fingerprints on there at all because the envelope had been crumpled up, so obviously prints are going to be distorted. But it's not like we can just run it through a database and it just get picked up straight away, because all of those employees aren't going to have their fingerprints on a database. So we have to go through each one separately and check for their ridges, their loops, their wells in their fingerprints, and see what is similar or potentially matches what is on the envelope if we find anything at all.
So it's a process of narrowing it down and then looking more closely at the ones that are
Exactly, yeah.
Wow, we get it. I mean, you mentioned a chemical, Ninhydrin, is that right? Yep. What's it like working with that? Do you just roll your sleeves up and get on with it, or do you have protection? Or
yeah, definitely protection. So because it uses heat and the chemicals in the liquid are quite toxic, so we have to make sure that we have our lab coats on, gloves on, and then we also have masks on as well, which quite literally look like World War II masks. They've got the air filters on either side, but it does the job. And because to keep the heat in, you have to sort of keep the room shut where the Ninhydrin is. So it gets very hot, stuffy, and the toxic fumes will just be too strong to go in there without any sort of protection.
Get involved. Detective Diaries is interactive, which involves you, the listener. Do you have a case you'd like discussed? A burning question about investigative life? Send an email to podcast@private-detectives.co.uk or reach out via social media. You may hear your story featured in an upcoming episode. Don't forget to leave your contact details.
Well, that's big stuff. So, okay, when you're not busting criminals or handling legal cases, what do you do outside of work or outside of study?
So
if you've got any time.
Yeah, if I've got any time. So the only thing that I really prioritise outside of work and uni is the gym. So I'm a professional competitive powerlifter on the outside, which I may not look like one, but I've been doing it since I've been at uni, and it is literally, since I left uni, it's been my life. essentially it's the one thing that, you know, is sort of me, and that's my time outside of work. Like if I need to de-stress, I go to the gym. If I need to just clear my head of anything, I go to the gym. Like it is very much what I prioritize, mental health wise and physical. I like to be, that is my one thing that I always take care of and prioritize when I'm not working or doing uni work.
Powerlifting's not most people's pastime.
No.
How much can you lift?
So powerlifting, essentially, for those who don't know, it is 3 different types of lifts. So you've got the squat, the bench, and the deadlift. And when you compete, you'll do 3 attempts of each, with your 3rd attempt being your highest attempt. And then basically whichever ones that the referees who are watching approve of, that will be your total. So your total is those 3 added up together at the end of it. So for squat, I have squatted 140 kilos.
Wow.
Bench is 60 kilos. And deadlift is 167 kilos.
167 kilo. I'm trying to do the maths on that. That's a tad under 400 pounds. About 300 weight.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not 100% sure because we always go by kilos. Like my brain is driven to kilos. We never do pounds, but something along those lines, yeah.
So you're not somebody to be messed with?
No, I would like to think that way.
What's been your highlight in the sport?
Oh, probably, you know what? It's BUCS, which is, it stands for British University Championships. So while I was at uni, I was competing quite a lot, as well as also running the society, which we had Powerlifting Society at uni. And BUCS is like the biggest uni competition you can do. Like you have to qualify doing another competition beforehand with a certain total, and then you would qualify for that. So you couldn't just roll up and do it. So essentially, why it was my biggest highlight was because I did it for the first time in my 2nd year of uni, and it was brilliant. I had a great day, did really well. And then I wanted to do it in my 3rd year, obviously go again because it happens once a year. And I didn't make it. So I was, just due to unforeseen circumstances, like just busyness and the chaos, my training had just gone slightly downhill. So I was like, right, when I did my master's, obviously it was my last year, and you can only do BUCS if you're at uni because it's university championships. So I was determined to get there for that last year because it was the last time I could do it. And I did a competition in November, and I didn't hit the qualifying total because they'd upped it that year as well. And then I tried again in January, didn't qualify. Tried again in March, didn't qualify. And now when I say this, you're supposed to only compete once every 6 months, right? I competed 4 times in about 4 months. So by the time it got to the 4th comp, it was literally, I think it was April. And I managed to qualify, and I'm not even joking, that day was one of the best moments of my life. Like reaching that qualification total and getting it, and everyone being there to support me, especially my society, was just an amazing experience. And that's why I love competing so much, because you get that high, not just from, it's you versus you. So I was not just proud of myself, but having everyone there to support me as well was amazing. So that, I would say, in the sport was probably the best highlight for me.
So you don't give up?
No, I'm very stubborn.
Do you apply that to work as well?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I tend to sort of take on a lot, but in a way because I'm stubborn enough to know that I can do it. So, and I get it done. Might have a little bit of a messy sort of need a de-stress moment at some points, but I end up doing it anyways because I know that I could in the first place.
Hello, I'm Etienne Middleton, and listen to my podcast about my month-long work experience as a private detective what it was like growing up in Singapore, and my life as a criminology student here on Detective Diaries.
You mentioned earlier about running the society at uni. So it's not a male-dominated sport.
Well, it's not anymore. And I would like to say that is partially because of me. And that was my whole reasoning for running the society. So when I first joined in first year, there was me and one other girl in the whole society of about 60 members. That was literally, it was just me and her. And then in second year, I sort of like started becoming specific roles for the society and sort of learning the trade of running it and sort of being in the back doors of what was actually going on rather than just being a member. And then in my final year, I decided to run it. And statistic-wise, the amount of females that we've got from then to now is at least 50-50 now, if not 60-40 girls. It is incredible, and I'm so happy that it's turned out that way because that was what I planned.
So you're an
all
inspiration.
Along. Well, maybe. I wanted to make sure that women know that they had that feminine power and not to be sort of scared or nervous because it's a male-dominated sport. Like, there's so many more strong females out there now who are recognizing powerlifting as a sport and realizing that they can do it. And it's incredible to see. It's really, really nice.
Okay, can you apply that into that same kind of inspiration into work as a similar example? I mean, there must be, and I'm sure there are, and I know there are, hundreds of people out there like you who would like to be doing what you're doing. You got any advice?
Honestly, I would just say get out there. Like, there's the one thing that I wish someone would have told me was don't just go for the police. As good as the police are, they're not your only option, especially in the forensics world. I mean, forensics-wise, if you're wanting to be a CSI or things like that, they don't even go through the police. They're their own company. You've got Eurofins, which is their complete own forensic company, and they are the ones that do all of the forensic lab stuff. If that's what people are looking for, police is not the only option. Don't get me wrong, the police are absolutely fine, but broaden your horizons and don't just focus on trying to get into the police so that you can then go into the forensics. You don't need to go into the police. You can go straight into forensics on day one.
Tóva, you sound like you've arrived and that you are staying where you are. What happens in the next 6 months, next year, next 5 years? Unfair?
Well, I mean, hopefully I'll be a little less stressed because I won't have my masters to deal with anymore. I don't know. I would like to take a lot more things on, especially in the forensics area. I'd like to learn more things, even with like the technological side, even like the mobile forensics and the computer forensics and all of that stuff. I'd love to learn, not necessarily do it as my day-to-day thing because I love doing my fingerprinting and my like forensics on fingerprints and on evidence like that. But I would love to learn more about the technological side because that is one thing that I never expected or really thought about learning before I joined here.
So there's always something to learn.
Yes, definitely. There is so much to learn, especially in forensics, because there's so much that it can account for. It's not just fingerprints or DNA or blood. It is literally anything. It's hair fibers, it's computers, it's audio, it's mobile, it's even bits on the pavement or ink on something. Like, you can always find forensics somewhere.
So always the traces of where we tread and go.
Always leave a trace. Always.
Tóva, thank you for talking. Any message?
For myself? Well, I would like to think that when I listen to this back in a year's time that my knowledge will expand quite a bit and I will hopefully be a lot more, even more expertised in this forensic field.
Don't think anybody's got any doubt with that. Tóva, thank you again for talking.
No worries.
We hope you enjoyed today's podcast, brought to you by Answers Investigation and UK Fingerprint. If you've enjoyed our conversation and want to learn more about the fascinating world of investigations, be sure to check out Private Detectives Answers Investigation. Their experienced team offers a wide range of discreet and professional services, helping you find the answers you need with integrity and expertise. If you're interested in fingerprint analysis or require specialist fingerprint services, don't miss UK Fingerprint. As one of the leading fingerprint companies in the UK, they provide everything from identification to background checks, working with individuals, businesses, financial institutions, and gambling companies. To find out more, visit www.private-detectives.co.uk, that's a minus sign, and www.ukfingerprint.co.uk. These are your go-to resources for investigative solutions and fingerprint expertise. You can call their office on 020 7158 0332. Thanks once again for tuning in. Until next time, stay curious and keep seeking the truth.